Greetings, Cyber Patriots. We are now presenting a Windows version of an image. This is basically a level 2 level / level 3 type of image, and as far as difficulty. What that basically means is it's a little harder than for a beginner, but or a novice, but so it's still more for beginners, but not quite at the level as if you went to basic cyber camp. So it's on the scale of easy, but we have a lot more things than on a beginner's image. So this is so it adds a little more complexity to us. That's why it's like level 2/3. So we're going to go ahead and show you the solutions to this one and how we would go about getting those solutions done. As with every Cyber Patriot image, the first thing you want to do is go to the README. So we're going to go to the README here, open it up. Open it up here, and you want to read read it kind of thoroughly what it's telling you. Okay, let's like answer some questions. Don't know if Firefox should be our default yet. Answer that later. All right. So again, this is an easy round to our Titan image. Oh, we already have points. All right. Let's see what our scoring report is. So we obviously when we open Firefox, we updated it, so that's good. That's nice. Nice, get some easy points there. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to let you read this. Basically, we have some critical services. You just recruited some new Titan member. So you got to create an account called HawkDove, give them a password. Also, there's some former members that are no longer with us. So let's let you know that obviously you probably need to delete somebody. So we'll go through the authorized users, see who should be removed. And obviously, we have some extra files and programs and services that probably need to be deleted or removed. And we have some critical services. So again, anything you see a critical service on, you want to make sure you have the absolute latest version. Upgrade to that one. So we'll have to double check on all these upgrades. Anyway, here's all the authorized user administrators, DGranger and Starfire. They're not listed the password for Starfire. There's all your authorized users. Looks like they replicated the administrators in here as well. So so we have DGranger, Starfire, Beast Boy, DGranger, Blackfire, Jade, Todd, Raven. So we're going to go ahead and again, next thing we're going to do now that we've done our README is we're going to go through our now the team ID is not critical for this. So if you have a team ID, you can put it in it, but again, it's not something that's going to stop you on this image. This is not something that's affiliated with AFA Cyber Patriot program. This is something we've made up for you to kind of an easy image for anybody that's kind of trying to get used to it. That's what we're trying to help on that. All right, so you can kind of see there's probably some clues here on the left, things that we probably need to get rid of. I'll share that with you as we get to it. So before we do that, so next thing after the README is usually the forensic questions. So we got 3 forensic questions. Let's go ahead and open it. And I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to use Notepad++. All right. So what is the current build number for this version of Windows? That can be found using the Win10 command. So you go down to the search, type Win10, and this current version is 18.183.6. That long number there. So 183.63 decimal 418. And then we're going to go ahead and save that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and bring up the next question. I tend to leave it up here just in case I did get the wrong answer. I can come back to it. Go ahead and open edit with Notepad for the second one. And we got that one correct. Good. So what was Dick Grayson's other famous nickname? So how do we find that out? So we obviously would have to do some sort of research. So one thing we could do with that is, remember, Google is your friend. So let's go ahead and open up a session here, and we're just going to look up Dick Grayson Titans. Let's just see what happens. And fandom, a lot of times these fandom wiki fandoms are very, very helpful. Oh, tells you right here, as well as first fish known as Robin. Let's see if that's what we're looking for. Let's open it up a little more. So for the episode of the same name, Dick Grayson episode, brothers have used the alias Robin. So I'm guessing Robin is another name for him. So let's go ahead and try Robin on this one. Let's save it. And since it's probably, let's go with a mixed case with it just to make sure. And we're going to go ahead and question number 3. Let's edit that one. What is the Windows command line prompt used to enable the Windows automatic updates? Well, that's interesting. So, well, there are lots of commands that can do that, but I think what they're trying to get out here is, there's actually so Windows automatic update. So let's, out of curiosity, let's go to the updates here. And let's just see what's happening. So if we go to update and security, so they say some settings are managed by your organization. View, update, no updates available. So when you see something like this, where it's configured update policies, that's usually a group policy. So that's probably going to be the group policy editor. And that is going to be gpedit.msc. So that is the answer. So this is a kind of a clue. So let's go ahead and do it now while we're thinking about it. A lot of times what you'll find is some of these forensic questions, or at least one of them, will point to an answer, a vulnerability. And that's something you need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the search box here. I'm going to type in CMD. And I'm going to run as administrator because I'm going to be needing this for other things as well. And I saved that. I think, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and to the group policy editor. Now, where normally this is found, let me go ahead and widen this a little bit. Under computer configuration, I usually go to the administrative templates, and I go to all settings. Looks like we get those points as well. Excellent. So, and at this point, it looks like it's in order by the setting name. We want to change that to state. That's usually a really quick way to finding what Cyber Patriot changed, because it's either going to be everything right now is going to be configured. So we want to put whatever has been configured, and you can see configure automatic updates has been disabled. So we're going to double click on that, and it pops up. And if you read this, I'll let you read this. There's a lot of pretty good explanation of what setting is. And you can see the default settings are 3. So we're going to enable it. So you can see the default setting 3. We're going to say apply, click on OK. hopefully we get some points. So I'm gonna. We should be done with this, and so we're hopefully done with group policy editor. And let's check our score at this point. And let me refresh it just to make sure. And you see the auto updates enabled. We got all of our forensic questions correct, and the Firefox has been updated. So they only gave us 1 point for Fox, but that was an easy one. So all right. So usually after now we got all of our forensic questions, I think we're done with this. Nope. Well, actually, while we're having Notepad open, let's check to see. Let's see if we can update it. Right. So an update. Do you want to download it? I'm gonna say go ahead. Yes. Just answer appropriately through these questions. So it's open, update, or close in order to process the installation. Continue. Yes. Yes to the installer. Picking the language. I agree. All defaults. No changes, just default. We're finished. And we should be good. Hopefully we get the latest, hopefully. Let's hope that gave us some points. There you go. So again, that was, remember that was one of the critical services or critical programs. And we should have some points for that one. The Notepad's been updated. So that's just note that a lot of times when you have README, make sure you update these. So we got points for Notepad, we got points for Firefox. So my guess is we might have to check the Adobe, the Acct Reader as well. So we will get to that one. All right, let's get our, and we could do that now, I guess. Let's go ahead and click on the Adobe Reader. And a lot of times it's under the help. Check for updates. Updates available. Make it my default. And updates available. Just gonna say click on download. We'll let that download. Give it a minute or two. And then we'll have to click on it again, maybe. Let's see if it pops up. Okay, we may have to click on it again shortly and say go ahead and install it. So right, we'll give it some time. So it'll come back up. Minimize that. While that's working, we're going to go ahead and work on our users. So again, we want to get our users next. So we've done our updates, we've done our now we got to work on our users. All right, one of the commands that's really nice to use on this is there's a net user command, and that will list all the users that are currently in the system right now. Another way you could do it is you could say user manager.msc. It's a very helpful if you want to see all the users in groups. And we'll need to go into the groups to look at the administrators and so forth. But another way of doing this, to get into here, if you didn't know this command, but get out of that, is you want to go into control, down here to search, and you want to go to control panel. Under control panel, it's under administrative tools. And under administrative tools, it's under computer management. And computer management, you'll see that it does have local users and groups. So that's another way of getting it. Those are different ways of accessing the same thing. My preference that I really like doing is the net user command. So I'm going to do the net user on this one, but local user groups are good if you want to do one by one. But I'm going to show you a little more advanced way of doing this. So if I say net user and I set that output, redirect that output to a file, and I'm going to call that file my users.bat or something like that. So I'm going to redirect everything that lists up here to this file. Now I can also, while I'm doing this, I'm going to do the groups as well. And the group that I'm interested in capturing is there are a lot of local groups. Local group. And the one I want, in particular, interested in is the administrators group. So I need to say, give me the plural. I need to spell it out correctly. So I'm going to now also redirect this output to the same file, and then we'll go ahead and edit the file shortly. So I'm going to I'm using the up arrow on the keyboard to bring the last command back, and I'm going to redirect it, but I don't want to overwrite the file. I want to append it. So that's instead of just a single greater than sign, you want two greater than signs, which will append it. So otherwise it's just going to overwrite it. We don't want that. So this will append it. Okay, very good. So we're going to go ahead and do let me go ahead and bring up my file explorer, and we'll go to Windows, and we're in Systems 32. And let's go to date modify, bring up the last one. And here's my users.bat. I'm going to edit with Notepad++. That way I can actually make some changes a little bit easier. So these are all the user accounts for that. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just put a rem in front of it. And we can actually, what's nice about Notepad++, I can set the language. So right now it's set to a batch file. So it will do syntax highlighting for me, which is really, really nice. And again, let's put a rem here. For the users, we want them on each line, on a separate line for each one. So we just need to, this is the hard part. You gotta put it on their own line. All right. So the next thing what we're going to do is get this out of the way. We need to compare this file to our authorized users. So we need to look at each one, and I like to go from this right side with the README and compare the README to what I just listed out for the net users command. And then I'll put a net user in front of each one of these. Net user, just get it going, because you're going to need that command for every single one. So what we're going to do. So I'm just doing, I did a control C for copy, and I'm just doing a control V at the beginning of each line. All right, so net user, good. Now we need to go, so DGranger is the first one. So we're going to go to DGranger, and we're going to set, now DGranger is you. So what I usually do for me is I'll take that out and I'll say this is me. This is me. Don't touch. You don't want to touch the main person, whoever you logged in. So that it tells you down primary account. We don't change that, get locked out. So I just basically, what I'll do is I'll remark that I touched it, you know, I mean, in a sense that I saw it was DGranger, but I'm not touching it. I'm not changing it in any way. And I'll just keep going through. So Starfire is not, next one, Starfire. So we can touch that one. So we're going to use the password 1234. That's W0RD, whatever you like for a password, whatever makes sense. Something you would remember, but still uses the complexity requirements. All right, so it's very important to use the complexity. And since we are That's basically it. So we're just changing the password here. So I want to copy this. As we go through this, we're going to change the password so everybody's the same. So next one's going to be Beast Boy. Okay, what's interesting about a 2 characters with a space, you have to have put them in quotes. So make sure you have quotes around that, and then I'm going to add in the password. And then DGranger is next, and Blackfire is next, and J. Todd Raven. Todd Raven is next. Okay. So anybody that's left is someone who needs to be deleted. The account needs to be deleted or deactivated. So, and we like to deactivate the administrator account and the guest account anyway. So we'll start at the top here. And I'll show you how we do that. We say /active : no, and that will set that account as it would deactivate that account. And you can see that I took it away, didn't I? Let me go ahead. So when we go into local users and groups and the users, you will notice there's one here that's a down arrow. So that account currently is deactivated. So if we double click on it, you can see it's for disabled. So that account's already disabled. But you can see visually which one's disabled. So default accounts disabled and WDA utility accounts disabled. But we're going to disable with this active no anyway. So everybody else, it needs to be deactivated or disabled. So again, I'm just taking that active no and then copy pasting at the end. I'm getting rid of all that extra line. That's what I'm highlighting. Raven is Robot Man. And what's nice about this, by doing it this way, is you get it by looking both ways at it. So by looking at all the ones in the README, you're getting everything that you'd have to compare back. So it works really, really effective this way. Now we got the users done as far as changing the passwords. We need to also change look at the administrators and compare that. So again, I'm going to just put an extra line here. Extra line, and this is finally a comment. And what's nice about this is I can then copy this in my log. And what's nice about keeping a log is something ever happens to the image while you're working on it. You've done all this work by doing the net user command. You don't have to do it again, right? So all that time spent is saved. Let's go ahead and get rid of these. And so what I usually do on this, on the administrators, is I will look at the administrators in the administrator section, and I will rem out anybody that's administrator. Anybody that's left needs to be basically removed. Okay. So let's go ahead and show you how that's done. So DGranger needs to be remmed out, right? We don't want it because we're going to remove anybody that's not remmed out. Starfire is another one. So and administrator, you don't want to get rid of administrator. So you include administrator in this as well, administrator plus whoever's listed. So it looks like we only have one that did not. So I just like to put all the true administrators together. And then all what we're looking at doing here is we're going to say, get my notes here. We're going to say net local group, net local group administrators. Right, and then now you're going to list out these individuals, and you could list them out one by one, right? So it'd be Raven. You could be user 2, user 3, and so on. And then you're going to say /delete. Well, we don't have a user 1. It's user 2, user 3. So, but you could list them out like this if you had more than one. Okay. So we're going to leave that just with the one user. So we're going to remove them. We're going to deactivate. A lot of times in the real life, they don't like to actually delete the users. They'll just deactivate their account just in case there's something in there they will need to get to later. So we're going to go ahead and deactivate these. And I think we had to create somebody, didn't we? So let me go back here while we're thinking about it. So there's a HawkDove we need to add. So I actually need to create somebody. So net user HawkDove. And we're going to say password and /add. So if you wanted to add somebody, that's how you would do that. And if you wanted to say active, yes, it's fine too. It's not necessary, but let's see what else. I think we got our users, we got our password. The former members are gone with the active no. Okay, I think so at this point, what we can do is we can actually then go ahead and save this file. Ooh. There you go. So you don't need to launch Notepad administrator mode. So let me copy paste this first. Right, we'll lose it. Let me try and save it again, and then I'll say, yeah, go and launch in administrator mode, and see if I lose it. Yeah, okay, I did not lose it. Thank goodness. So it's in administrator mode. You can see it's up here, it's marked as administrator. Now we're going to go ahead and click on save. So that was very nice that Notepad gave us that link. And I can, now that I did that, I can save it to my log, what I just did. That's going into my log. So now we just, since this is a batch file, we're going to go ahead and run this command. This is the users.batch command. And it's going to go ahead and basically execute all these different things that we just did. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it. And you have to run these commands in administrator mode. So you need to be in administrator command prompt for all this. So now we should be getting a bunch of points. We changed users, we changed passwords to users, we took out Raven from the administrators group. We added a user. Now let's go ahead and go to the swarm report. And you can kind of see here, we actually got quite a number of points, quite a number of items that we solved. We disabled the guest account, we created a new user, we disabled or deleted these users, we changed passwords, we get points for that, we took Raven out of the administrators group. So we did quite a bit of stuff, and that was a whole lot quicker than going through this. So you can go through this if you want, but it just takes. This is much faster, but there's more than one way of doing it. All right. So while we're there, so another thing that you want to do is look for the shared folders. Are there any shared folders? These are, and there's nothing new. There's nothing that's added. These are the default shares. Admin $, C $, IPC $. These are the default shares. They will stay there. You could try to delete them. They'll come back after you reboot. So what you're looking for is anything that's added that's not part of the README. So these are okay. No problem here. All right. So let's go ahead and exit out of that one. And usually at this point, let's minimize that. Usually at this point, what we want to do is look for like your password, like your firewall, right? So we're going to turn the firewall. So let's go ahead and firewall can be found right here under Control Panel. Go to Control Panel, you'll see the firewall, the Windows Defender firewall. And as long as it doesn't, they don't have a group policy, you can just say you use recommended settings. If that doesn't work, it's probably a group policy issue. Let's see if it's okay. So they don't have any group policy that's stopping us. It could also be a services that's been shut down. That's something you need to look for as well. But this worked. That worked good. I'll go back to the. All right, so we're going to go to like account lockout policies, the lockout duration, counts, and so forth. So that's usually found under Control Panel, Administrative Tools, and then you want to go down to here where it says Local Security Policy. And under Local Security Policy, go to Account Policies. There's Password Policy. See if I can get the numbers here for us. Okay, so under Password Policy, enforce password history. That's usually about 10 passwords. That's so basically remember the last 10 passwords. So we want to put in 10, hit enter. Maximum password age is usually set to between 60 and 90. We're going to set it to 90. Minimum password age. So this is how when you can actually change it. So if it's set to 0, that means you can change it immediately. You set it to 1, that means you have to wait a day before you change your password. So a lot of times people would they'll put in like 10 days. And then the minimum password length, so it has to be so long. Minimum password length is we usually set it to 10 here, 10 characters. And you want to make sure it meets complexity requirements, so enable here. And then you want this reverse encryption disabled. Make sure that is disabled. Okay, so that's your password policy. That looks like we actually got some points. Let's see, let me just make sure we refresh this. And you can see here the sec policy password, we set it to 90. So that's what they want, 90. Okay, good. All right, so we want account lockout policy. So usually what you do first here is account lockout threshold. You change this to, they usually want 5 attempts. So after 5 attempts, and then they give you recommendations. So we're going to keep the recommended settings. We're going to say, yeah, go ahead. And you should be good at that point. Then we're going to go to local policies next. And we'll go to audit policy. And you want to basically turn all these settings. So change all these to success and failure. And last. And in when we do our more advanced video, we'll show you actually how to run this. You'll have to skip all that steps. You can see that took us at least a minute or two. That can be done in a single command line entry. So very, very useful. Okay, one of the other items that is usually on is we go to security items here, and they usually you need to figure out which ones need to be set here. But the ones for this is a solutions video. The one that is the Control-Delete. I'm going to put Control-Delete. Okay, so interactive logon do not require Control-Delete, and there's an explanation here. So this one we want to disable this. It's kind of a reverse negative. So you think that you want to. You're saying you do not want to require. In other words, if you said I want to require, then that'll be yes. But I want do not require. That means no. So you do want to require. I know it's so confusing. So in this case, it's really disable. So that's an important one always to have. So we're still at 17 out of 24 points. So we're doing really, really good. Okay, so we're getting our security policies, our account policies, our password policies. So that's good. We got our Control-Delete. Yep, let me update this. Yep, there it is. Okay, I only got 1 point for that. Sometimes it's you get points. Sometimes they're not as good. Oh yeah, we need to do our update while we're thinking about it. We should be done with the local security policy for this solution. Again, this is an easy, fairly easy on the easy side for the practice round. Is to get a little bit more than beginner, but to see a little more action. You can kind of see here what we have the firewall turned on. We have the AutoUpdate. We got you introduced into the group policy editor, security policies, password policies, account lockout policies, audit policies. So we're getting a little bit more broadened from what a beginner would be. All right, so we need to check that Adobe Reader now. Let's see if we can get that thing installed. It's ready to install now, so let's go ahead and click on install. That's the thing, you got to watch out. Some programs will only download it first. Some will download it and install it. The Adobe Readers, you can do one step at a time. It won't do both. So just be aware of that. But since this is a critical one, we want to make sure we get these updates installed, and hopefully we get some points. I'm not going to restart. We're going to go ahead and close. And I'm going to close this. All right. All right, let's take a look at different. Close this one now. Let's take a look at the different programs that are loaded. We see this Win10, which probably needs to be deleted. So we're going to go to that, programs and features. So we know we're good on Adobe Reader. That is one of the ones we want to keep. Win10 is the one we're talking about. So we're going to go click on Win10 and then click on Uninstall. And it's prompting us through. Just go ahead and go through the prompts. Say that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. All right. The other one that's on here that if you remember on the README, it says Firefox. It does not say anything about Chrome. So we need to get rid of Chrome. So I'm going to click on Chrome here. I'm going to click on Uninstall. What's weird about the Chrome one, FYI, is it has like this weird pop-up box that I can't see on mine. Let me just minimize some of these boxes. You can start to see them a little better. All right. So I'm going to click on it. It says uninstall Google Chrome. Are you sure you want to uninstall Google Chrome? It says also delete your browsing data. I'm going to say go ahead and click on Uninstall button that's there. And it wants us to do a survey. Why are you uninstalling it? And I'm going to say no, thank you. So we're going to exit out of that. Go ahead and bring back up our Firefox. All right, let's see what we're at. So we got 21 out of 24, so we got 3 more to go. All right, very good. So let's go ahead, and one of the things that we can do here while we're in Firefox is we can check our preferences. So under this one is we want under settings, and it says not our default browser. So let's go ahead and make it our default. So we're going to say, yeah, go ahead and make it our default. And we're going to scroll down, see if there's anything else we need. It's already up to date, so we're good with that. Everything's good. Then we're going to go to, just going to scroll through these. Nothing there. Search, I think there's nothing here either. Yeah. So privacy and security is where it's going to be a big one. So we want to work on tracking protection. And usually the best thing to do is click on strict here. And you always want to make sure do not track signal is set. And you want the cookies, delete the cookies when Firefox has been closed. And I think that's it. And make sure your pop-up pop-up windows is checked, and then warn you when websites are trying to install add-ons. So these are common ones that Cyber Patriot will quiz you on. Sometimes they won't necessarily get you, but that's all right. So we are done with our settings. I don't see anything else that's popping up that I need to change. So let's see where we're at. So let me go ahead and refresh this. So we had 23 out of 24 issues. So we can see we got the do not track. It's been enabled, and then delete the cookies when the Firefox is closed. All right, one thing that usually gets missed is the Mp3 files. So we're going to go ahead and look for them. And usually they're all in the users directories. So probably the fastest way to search for that is dir /users /star.mp3. So users are where all the users have their own directories. So I just need to start there. Look for anything with the MP3 extension, and a /s, they do all the subdirectories. So there are 2 MP3 files. One's in DGranger music, and one's in the public music. So we're going to go ahead and use our Windows Explorer for that one. And I'm just going to go to those directories. So let's go ahead and minimize that. So the first one is music. Here's the Titan theme song. I'm just going to hit delete. That should go into my recycle bin now. And the other one was public music. So that one you got to go to users, public, and then look for music here. So where's my public music? Okay, and there's the theme song again. So hit delete, click on it, and hit delete. Now hopefully we get points for it. Let's see what the. But you may have to delete all of them. I may have to delete just one of them. Sometimes you don't know what the criteria is. All right, let's see. Oh, I think that's our last one anyway. So we should have 24 now. Let me refresh this. So that's 24 out of 24. We did all the forensic questions, answered them. We went through all the users. We added a user. We deleted or disabled users. We changed their passwords. We took someone from the administrators group that should not be there. We We made sure the AutoUpdate's enabled. We turned the firewall on. We worked on password policies, account lockout policies, audit policies. Under the security model, we did the interactive logon by do not require control to leave. We disabled that, so that means we do require it. I know it's confusing. We updated all of our critical services, and we got points for those. That's great. So got a point almost immediately for Firefox, if you recall. So we got points for Notepad, points for Adobe Reader, and of course we removed prohibited software like the Win10, the Chrome, which was not the approved package, and any Mp3 files, and also we updated our Firefox with certain settings. So there's 24 security issues that we found and we fixed for now 100 points. I hope you like this. Go ahead, please go ahead and click that like button and let me know what you think about it, and subscribe. And I'll keep putting more of these videos out as much as I can.